It wouldn't come to me, but you could ask me questions about Christianity. I'm up for that. Like,
you're a Christian?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Since when?
Yes.
Since when?
Since 6 years ago. Yes.
Oh, I must have seen old videos then.
They were old, man. Like,
You used to be here talking about like Shia songs.
no, what? That's not me. That's somebody. It says in chapter 24:31 of the Quran. Have you got mother and have you got like mother and sister family?
I'm not that religious.
No, have you got a mother and a sister? Like, have you got any sisters?
Mother, yeah.
Okay, it says here, and tell the believing woman to lower their gaze and guard their chastity, and not to reveal their ornaments except what normally appears. Let them draw their veils over their chests. So in this Quranic verse, in chapter 24:31 of the Quran, it's talking about how women in Islam had to wear a veil over their head, over their chest. And your scholars, even in chapter 33,
Don't say you're not my position.
you're Muslim, right?
You don't know that.
You said you were a Muslim
I
earlier.
never saw that. You said, what is this book? I said Quran.
You said you were a Muslim, bro. Come on, like, why are you doing taqiyya?
I didn't say anything.
Okay,
said, what
say
is
Muhammad is a false prophet.
I won't say that. I don't have to say anything to you.
Okay, but are you a Muslim?
I'm here observing.
So, okay, you are a
debate
Muslim.
people, you debate
You are a Muslim. Okay, but okay. I'm gonna make my point because I know you're a Muslim. You said it earlier, right? You don't have to respond to this. Okay. In chapter 24,
I'm just gonna listen to you.
chapter 24:31 of the Quran. Imagine this: you have a mother and you have a sister. It says that the woman have to wear a veil over the chest. The Islamic scholars, the Aqidah, the schools of Islam say that this veil has to be worn as a Kamar. Kamar means a veil over their head. Now imagine this: you have a mother and you have a sister, and is a hot weather outside. Why is it that they have to wear a veil over their head? There's no freedom in that. Why is it that your mother and your sister, if they wear a hijab, if they wear a Kamar, why is it in this hot weather that they have to keep it over the head when it's hot? That's my question to you.
No, you said I have to listen.
Yeah, but
I listen to you.
can you not respond to that? So you are a Muslim. I know you are a
I don't have to
Muslim.
respond to anything.
Why do you want to
I'm
respond to
listening
it?
to this guy.
But you came up to me asking me for questions.
I did. You were holding up a Quran.
Yeah, but and I opened up the surah. You said, what surah is it, right? Don't lie to me that you're not a Muslim just because I got up a verse.
I didn't know this was like a whole thing. You said what surah.
Yeah, you asked what surah is, and then you were intrigued about point I was bringing up, and the point I was bringing up was that why in Islam do the women have to wear a veil over the head? That's my simple question. Why?
Talk to that brother.
He won't. No, I already talked to him. He won't debate me. See, look, the typical Muslim. Okay. So look, there's a lot of Muslim women here. I used to be a Muslim. I have a mother and a sister. They are Muslims as well. And what I feel sorry about Muslims, especially Muslim women, is that they have to wear a hijab over their head. There is no freedom of this. God is meant to be somebody who's relational. God is meant to be somebody who's a spirit. Why, as Muslim women, do you guys have to wear a hijab over your heads? Why is that, sir? Do you know why, sir? Yes. Mary. They did it as a Jewish tradition, not as a Jewish tradition. As a tradition, yes. Okay. So what Mary did, don't touch me. What Mary did was as a Jewish tradition. Mary never wore a veil as a religious perspective. She wore it as a Jewish tradition. Which Muslims can answer this verse of the Quran? You can answer this verse of the Quran, brother. You can answer this verse.
Buddha, you drink Buddha.
Can you answer this verse?
Only the Bible.
Why is it in Surah 24:31 of the Quran that Muslim women have to wear a veil over their head? Mary wore a veil as a tradition, not as a religious perspective. Muslims are obligated to wear a hijab. There is no freedom in Islam. Muhammad's wife Aisha used to wear a hijab. Oh, look, they're gone. They're gone, man. Forget them, man. They're gone. Are you guys Muslims? Do you mind if I ask you a question? You don't have to be on camera. Okay. There's nobody to talk to, man.
There is a day of judgment.
There's nobody to talk to.
There is a day of judgment.
Huh?
There is a day. Your guys.
There's a lot of Muslims I can talk to.
There is a day of judgment that where if you do not have Christ.
Wait, there might be some Muslims down there. I'm gonna go down there. Any Muslims can answer this question of the Quran? Which Muslims can answer this question of the Quran? The scholars here. Let's go to the scholars with the Shia. Sorry, my brother. My brother. You guys English speakers? You guys speak English? كنت عربي كنت عربي
الامير مشعل السمع والطاعه
كيف حالك؟ Can I say something?
هذا امير
Hello sir, okay.
يا ابوي
You're the sheikh. You're the sheikh. Okay.
نحن نتكلم سياسه ما نتكلم دين.
Listen.
امس عرفت الاسلام جيت من
All of the Muslim people here.
My friend, you are right. Okay.
Why do Muslims?
go. Only Arabic, no English.
كنت عربي.
No English.
كنت عربي. كيف حالك؟
No English.
كيف حالك حمار؟ كيف حالك؟
امس تعلمت الاسلام ما جيت
تعلم بكير.
روح جو. عربي اسمك عربي. الله يشلك.
كنت عربي. Listen. Every single Muslim here needs to know the reason why Islam is a false religion. Islam has no freedom for women's values. Islam has no freedom for women. Women are treated very badly in Islam. There's a woman there, there's a woman there, there's a woman there, and there's a woman there.
Listen to me.
In Islam,
Only people here are Arab.
why do the women? Don't touch me. Why do the women have to wear a hijab? Why do the women in Islam have to wear a hijab? Why do women in Islam have to wear a hijab? There's no freedom in religion. There's no freedom in relationship with God. In Christianity, there is freedom in Christ. Christ has set us free. Why do women have to wear a hijab? Why do you guys have to wear a hijab? Why do you guys have to wear a hijab?
No answer. You are right.
Why do you guys have to wear a hijab?
You are right. No answer.
Why do you guys have to wear a hijab? Listen,
No answer.
there is no freedom in Islam. Islam promotes women's degeneracy. Islam promotes no freedom of women. Why do women in Islam have to wear a hijab?
Islam can't stand questioning. Islam can't.
Why can't you answer the question? We're not going to let you run away. We're not going to let you run away. Why is it that Muhammad, the Prophet, allowed women in Islam to wear hijabs? There's no freedom in Islam. Women in Islam have to wear a hijab. So are you a Muslim? Oh, wait, can I ask you a question? Yeah. Why is it in Islam that women have to wear a hijab? There's no freedom at all for women. All these women here, my mother and my sister, I feel sorry for them because there's no freedom for them. Why is it that these women have to wear a hijab and the wheel over the head? Why is it? Why is that the case? Yeah, but don't you think there's no freedom? There's no freedom of that at all. Women should be able to live a free life. They should be able to live a free life in their relationship with Allah. Why is it that Muslims have to wear a hijab over the head? Imagine you had a mother, you had a wife, and you told them in this hot weather, wear this hijab over your head. There's no freedom in that at all. What's the freedom of that? I want to know. I'll show you the word. You can that be. Okay, here it says in chapter 24, 31 of the Quran, right? And tell the believing women to lower their gaze and guard their chastity, and not to reveal their ornaments, except what normally appears. Let them draw their wills over their chests. Okay, this is in 24:31 of the Quran. Now in Surah 33:59, this is what is written. O Prophet, ask your wives, daughters, and believing women to draw their cloaks over their bodies. In this way, it is more likely that they will be recognized as virtuous. So the question is, like, all these women here, why is this woman? These are Muslim women as well. Why is it that Muslim women, My mother, my sister, your wife, your sister, your mother have to wear a hijab. There is no freedom in this. God is meant to be somebody who's loving. God is meant to be somebody who's relational. Sir, come back. God is meant to be somebody who's relational. Why do we need to wear a hijab?
Simple as that.
Brother, so what does this verse mean? What does this verse mean? What does this verse mean? So, Kent Arabi. Do you know what this verse means? Do you know what this verse means? So, it seems that no Muslim wants to respond to our verses that we're bringing up. So I just preach it. Basically, women deserve freedom. Every single Muslim woman here deserves freedom. Whether they're wearing a hijab or not, they deserve freedom. Muslim women around the world who are wearing a hijab have no choice. They have to wear it because Muhammad has said to. Are you a Muslim, sir?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Why is it? Are you guys Muslim? See, there's Muslim women. Okay. Why is it that Muslim women have to wear a hijab over their head? You deserve freedom. You deserve freedom. You're not obligated to wear a hijab. So, every single Muslim woman deserves freedom. They don't have to wear a hijab. Even if it's a hot weather, if they're going to the beach, they have to wear a hijab. Brother, you're a Muslim, right? Okay. Why do Muslim women have to wear a hijab? Why do they have to wear a hijab? That's my question. Why do Muslim women have to cover the head? You speak from there. You can speak from there. Why do Muslim women have to cover their head?
You think women showing their ass is more liberated?
No, they can cover their body, be modest, but why covering their head is a different topic. Why is it that Islam teaches that Muslim women have to cover their head? What's the freedom in that? Every Muslim woman here deserves freedom. And we will speak for you Muslim women out here.
Is it more liberating to sit in a bikini and show your ass on the beach, yeah?
Okay, so I would love to respond to that. Okay, so there's nothing bad about Muslim women dressing in a modest way. It is okay for Muslims to cover their body because men, we have a struggle of lust. But why do Muslim women have to cover their head? There's no freedom for Muslim women if they are covering their head. Imagine if the weather is a hot weather. If the weather is 35 degrees in the UK, Muslim women are obligated to cover their head. Whether they're sweating, whether they're hot, whether they can't breathe, they have to cover themselves. And we are here to speak for the freedom of the Muslim woman. That's my answer to you, sir. Sir, what's your response to that? Okay. So, okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Ish. Are you Muslim, right?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, is this like a progressive form of Islam that you're?
Yeah, I'm preaching about radical Islam, about the Quranic verse.
About radicalism?
So in the Quran, in Surah 24:31 of the Quran, and in Surah 33:59 of the Quran, it talks about how Muslim women have to wear a cloak over their chest. And the scholars of Islam, Ibn Kathir, they are saying that this veil has been worn over the head. I can understand how these garments should be covering their body because men do a lust. Men should lower their gaze. But why is it that Muslim women have to cover their head? This is a man-made tradition. This is a man-made tradition. The reason why this verse was revealed is because Muhammad didn't want his wives marrying anybody else. Which is why Muhammad caused such bad oppression to women in Islam. Can you answer the question, sir? Your wife is dressed in a hijab. What's the freedom in that? What's the freedom in that? Why? What's the freedom in? There's no freedom. There's no freedom. There's no freedom. What Islam's preaching. But what's the reason? What's the reason that you? But what? But what's the reason that you wear a hijab? Because I can understand that you can cover your body. Which verse? Which verse? Which verse? Which verse of the Quran? You guys Muslims? Oh, no Muslims? No, I'm Christian. Hello, sir. You're Muslim, right? You're not Muslim? You know what this verse means in Arabic? It says in Surah 33:59 in the Quran, O Prophet, ask your wives, daughters, and believing women to draw their clothes. Are you Muslim, sir?
There's no choice.
Ah, okay. Okay, what do you think about this verse, right? So it says,
I'll play devil's advocate.
okay, O Prophet, ask your wives, daughters, and believing women to draw their cloaks over their bodies. Now the question I ask you, if it's a 33 degrees weather, if it's a 35 degrees weather, why is it that women in Islam have to wear a hijab over the head? There's no freedom in that at all.
I mean, it was probably more hot in like Saudi Arabia.
So why do they have to wear a hijab?
So the British context is perhaps irrelevant, but I mean, the argument that I would have heard is that it was a way of culturally distinguishing between, women who were protected by the Prophet and not. So it showed, it anointed them and provided them a sense of status in society, and a lot of Muslim people would argue that this is like a liberalizing force.
Okay.
Whether or not it's true, I don't know.
But okay, let's see what your scholars say about this verse, right?
Okay, let's actually talk for a moment. Can I not be
Huh?
But just on the point of scholars then, right? I mean, even the interpretations of the scholars are bound by like this sort of socio-cultural circumstance at the time, right? Like for example.
But is the Quran for all the time? Is the Quran eternal for all of humanity?
But the interpretation. So I'm not defending from like a person who is actively believing, let's say, right? But the argument I would say about this, about the Quran not being time bound, but scholarly opinions being time bound, is that Muslim people believe that you need to look towards like the interpretations of like the Imam al-Fiqh, right? Like so Shafi'i, for example, had a lot of his rulings or his opinions change.
What school do you follow?
I'm sorry.
What school do you follow?
I don't know if I
Okay.
honestly, right? I'm not trying to be like.
Okay, so what's your
But let's say if I were Shafi'i, what I would say is that Imam Shafi'i's opinions changed dramatically when he moved from Iraq to Egypt.
So let's go to the Quran then. Okay, let's talk about the Quran then. Is the Quran? You believe the Quran is the eternal word of Allah, right?
I don't know if I believe that.
Okay, is the Muslim paradigm, the Quran has the Quran is the eternal word of Allah. It's been revealed over a period of time to Muhammad on earth, right? And Muhammad is meant to be the best example for this day and age, right?
This is what Muslims believe.
And these scholars, when they are gathering these verses of the Quran, what they're doing is that they're basing on what Muhammad said and his life, right? And that they can be applied to this day of age as well.
That's what they believe, whether or not it's true.
Yeah. So your scholars, like Ibn Kathir, they are saying that you know what a Kamar is?
I'm sorry again.
A Kamar. What's a Kamar? Do you know what a Kamar is?
No.
So okay, a Kamar in Islam is basically used to describe a head covering. So the Islamists, whether the Quran says it or not, the Islamic exegetes, they say that the hijab, the Kamar, must be worn over the head. Now, whether you agree with this or not, my question to you was, is there freedom in this of women wearing a hijab on their heads in this day and age?
So let me continue to play devil's advocate, which that if I were to believe that this is the divine word of God, whether or not I had any preconception about whether it, was a liberalizing force or, evoked freedom would be irrelevant. In the same way that if you were to find something that were heinous in the Bible, hypothetically, I'm not anti-theist at all, right? If hypothetically you found an incremental verse in the Bible that
No, you changed topic. Don't talk about the Bible. I'm talking about the Quran.
No, I understand.
Yeah. So I'm trying to say to you, whether the Quran says it or not, right? The reason why Muslim women are wearing hijabs is because of what their scholars are telling them, like Ibn Kathir. And I'm trying to say to you, is there freedom of women wearing hijab? Like if they are wearing a hijab, is there freedom in this?
What if it's the wrong question? Because irrespective of whether there are, let's say freedom. Okay, for example, in the Quran you can't commit, premarital sex, let's say, right? That's clearly not freedom, but there is a view taken in like the Islamic faith, which again I am not speaking for or against, right? Which say that irrespective of this, it is what they believe. So why does freedom need to be created?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what. The reason why I'm talking about hijab is because
is this an easy target?
No, it's not easy to target because I have family members, right? I have family members who wear a hijab, and I feel so sorry for them because when it's 33 degrees, 35 degrees, they still have to wear a hijab. There's no freedom of them to let their hair loose. God has made us in the image in His image. So so God has made us in His image. God has made us in His image. So if women don't want to wear a hijab, if women want to like do their hair up, what's wrong with that? Why is it that in Islam they are obligated to wear a hijab and they can't show their hair unless there's a mahram?
I would say that it depends on which country you're from, right? Like, I mean, like there are many like interpretations of Islam which are far more secular. Like, in like Malaysia and Brunei, you often find people without wearing headscarves. Even here, you would find like a lot of Muslim women, like perhaps not first, second generation migrants, right? Who probably are as liberal, have as liberal interpretations of this as you have by Christianity.
Okay, but this is the thing. So majority of these rulings, majority of this school of thoughts that have taken place has been taken place by your scholars. Your scholars like Ibn Kathir, Al-Jalailin, Ibn Abbas, right? These schools of thought have got their rulings from these scholars. So I'm telling you,
but these schools of thought similarly.
Ibn Kathir, one of the greatest exegetes, says a woman must wear a veil over the head. Do you disagree with his opinion? The greatest exegete in Islamic history, who says that women have to wear a veil over the heads. Do you disagree? A veil over their heads? Yeah, a veil over the heads. Yeah. Do you disagree with his opinion?
So what I would say is, why does my opinion matter here if I am not like?
I'm asking you that. Do you disagree with his opinion? Do you agree with his opinion or do you disagree with his opinion? Ibn Kathir.
Whom I disagree with the premise that his word necessarily needs to be held in the same regard.
Kimar, I have to say, that's what I said, the word Kamar. Ibn Kathir uses the word Kamar. Kamar. Kamar especially was used as a veil over their heads. And Ibn Kathir said that this must be used. And that my whole premise I asked you.
I believe that is his interpretation.
Yeah, my whole premise I asked you, so the Muslims that we get here in the part, the Muslims that we get around the world are following the teachings of the Islamic scholars, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Because obviously the Quran hasn't got much things revealed in detail, so they have to go to the things what the Islamic scholars have said to you. And based on his teaching of the Islamic scholars that they are wearing a hijab. And what I'm trying to preach is that there's no freedom for women, because a woman is somebody who's made in the image of God. What's wrong with what's wrong for a woman? What's wrong for a woman to do the hair? What's wrong for a woman to not wear a hijab? What's wrong for it? What's wrong with it?
I don't think it's wrong for.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you agree with me then? Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not the scholar that you're pretending I am to be.
Majority of the scholars.
No, but hang on. Let me play devil's advocate for it. What I would say to this is the opinions of this scholar from how long ago was he?
Ibn Kathir, one of the greatest exegetes.
How long ago?
Over thousands of years.
So this interpretation was, at least assuming if we're propagated in the same way it was to say Imam al-Shafi'i, right, is one that was explicitly dependent on the customs and social good of the time, right? So whether or not I disagree with it need not necessarily disprove the underlying text of the Quran. So it's irrelevant.
Okay, okay, cool. Okay, let's say if it's irrelevant. So now I want your opinion, right? And if you agree with me, then we can shake hands. What I'm trying to preach is freedom for women. Freedom for women, that they don't have to wear a hijab because they deserve freedom. Every single woman here, every single Muslim woman around the world who are wearing hijabs deserve freedom. They deserve to go out and go without a hijab. They deserve to do the hair. They deserve to go in front of the brothers, their friends, without their hijabs. They don't have to show their hair in front of just the madams. And my question I ask you, is there freedom for women in Pakistan, in Saudi Arabia, to not wear a hijab?
There is clearly not as much freedom of religion, but
and why is it there's no freedom? Because they follow the Sharia. They follow these scholars where they get the duration from the Quran.
There are Muslim majority countries where you do have this freedom of religion, right?
They're not following the Sharia, no.
Say that again?
They're not following the Sharia, no.
They're not following the Sharia.
And anything that's...
When you say the Sharia, where can I find the Sharia? Is this
So,
a text I can read?
yeah, so
Or instead of interpretation,
the Sharia law is based on the Sharia law, yeah.
Okay,
is based on what the Quran teaches. It's based upon the Sunnah of Muhammad. So if you derive the Sharia law, it should be based upon what the Quran and the Sunnah teaches. The Sunnah teaches that women should wear a hijab over the
There are
head.
different views about what sunnah are time-bound and what are authentic and not authentic. So I
Muhammad, do you agree Muhammad is the best Sunnah out of everybody?
Do I believe Muhammad
If Muhammad is meant to be the leader, the founder of Islam,
Why are we talking about belief? Again,
yeah, if Muhammad is meant to be the founder of Islam, right, the Sunnah should be obligated and authoritated from him. And Muhammad's teaching said that women should wear a hijab over the head. His wives even wear a hijab over the head. So there's actually no freedom for women wherever you want to look at it.
So I genuinely could not hear that.
Yeah. So the Sunnah and the teachings of the Quran, people get it from Muhammad. Muhammad is the founder from Islam. And Muhammad's teaching, he is meant to be above all scholars, above all schools of thought. And he is saying that women must wear a hijab over the head.
understand.
Even his wives wore hijab over the head. Even his wives wore hijab over the heads. So, and the people should be following them because they're the mothers of believers. So if these women are not following them, they're not following Muhammad properly. So there's no freedom for women whatsoever.
Okay, I just want to have one question.
Yeah.
Because I think this is like perhaps, there's misunderstanding about my beliefs, right? Do you believe that the interpretation of the Bible should be similarly not time-bound?
So are you talking about solely scriptural ones?
Well, so like, for example, slavery and things like this.
Yeah. So in terms of slavery, these things happen. I believe they happen in the Old Testament. So I believe they
Even
happen.
the Old Testament.
Yeah, I believe that these things they happen in the Old Testament, but Christ fulfilled these things, so we no longer to abide to these.
And is that the right side of the theological argument? Do you think that there are not people with, like, I don't know, if I ask
No.
an average professor
Because
in, like,
Yeah,
Christian
like
studies
likewise, how Islam they derive their teaching from Muhammad, they derive their teaching from the Sunnah. Likewise, our founder of faith, our head of faith is Jesus Christ. We derive our teachings from Jesus and what He said. No matter what scholars have said, we go by what Jesus said, and Jesus clearly, Jesus clearly said that we no longer have to follow the old law or slavery.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I genuinely don't know, right? My understanding was that you are taking it from, let's say, the Book of John, things like this, which are similar in form to what a hadith would be, right? Which is a description of what Jesus purports to have said or done or believed, right? So I don't see it's not as if, the Quran is like, at least in the Islamic faith, it's not a codified view of like Muhammad's words, right? In the same way the Bible.
You didn't believe the Quran is Muhammad's words.
Sorry?
You didn't believe the Quran was that given. Did you believe the Quran was given to Muhammad, right? Hypothetically speaking.
Again, let's not use the word I believe, right? But like, what Muslims believe is that like Muhammad was a conduit for which like the divine word of God was
Came to him, and his companions wrote the Quran. His companions wrote the Quran.
in the same way that like Matthew and John wrote the Bible, right?
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. So you agree with that, right? So that the word is given to him orally, Muhammad, and then his companions wrote the Quran.
Your understanding of the situation is the same as my understanding of the situation.
But let's not. We're taking away from the topic. Let's go to the original topic. Like, what was your question? That links in with this topic.
Yeah. So my question is, you are taking a view about religious teachings that suggests that the interpretations of the Quran should not be time bound, right? They continue and persist to present day. My question is, do you hold the same opinion about the interpretation of your own Christian faith?
Okay, so yeah. So it depends. It depends.
Interpretation of the Quran.
So it depends. It depends the context. Based on the Mosaic law, right? That was based on the time of the Jewish customs. That was based on the time of Moses and the prophets. Jesus, he came with the new covenant, and the new covenant we're bound to that. Everything that's underneath the new covenant, we are bound to that. But again, within the Quran, Muhammad is meant to be the greatest example for humanity. His wives are meant to be the mothers of believers. You should be following the example even to this day and age. And the whole thing I wanted to ask you was if there is freedom for women to not wear a hijab, according to the majority view in Islamic schools and the Quran and Sunnah. So according to the majority view of the Islamic scholars, according to the majority view of the Sunnah and the Quran, the majority view says that women must wear a hijab. So the majority, we must always go by what the majority view says. And the majority view says that women must wear a hijab, which is why you get in all these countries where the Sharia is established, women have to wear a hijab. When they go to the mosque, when they go in front of the mahrams, they have to cover themselves. When they don't go in front of the mahrams, they have to cover themselves. The only reason where they can not cover themselves is in front of their brothers, or in front of the wives, or in front of the dads. That's only the applicable reason when they can't cover themselves. So there's no freedom on that at all. If a woman wants to go outside now, if a woman wants to go to the park now, they have to wear a hijab. If it's 35 degrees in a park, if it's 35 degrees in a beach, they have to wear a hijab. There's no freedom for women at all. We want freedom for women.
What I will say is that
We don't like them. We don't like them. Because they are child abusers.
what I would say is that once again I am
They should go to jail.
okay.
They should go to jail.
Just to summarize, I think the point, right, is I disagree with the premise that the majority of Muslims around the world need freedom to be the sole arbiter of whether or not it's right or wrong. Secondarily, I think if you asked me, a man, whether or not the hijab in my life is a liberalizing force, I am absolutely not.
Would you make your wife wear a hijab?
Well, I don't even. Again, you're talking to me as if I'm like a Muslim.
But if she if you had a wife and she was Muslim, would you make her wear a hijab?
So, if I were Muslim, and I mean, am I allowed to have the interpretation of Islam I want or not?
According to the Sunnah.
According to the Sunnah, but people disagree with the Sunnah. And similarly, you have.
So then you go to the scholars. So then you go to the majority exegetical ones.
Yeah, but again, we get into the situation of whether or not the scholarly interpretation.
Okay,
is
then
right or
okay.
not.
Would you rather
See, I'm saying,
okay? As a woman in Islam, would they rather follow the scholars or would they rather follow the woman of the mother of the believers, which is Muhammad's wives? Muhammad's wives wore hijabs over the head, and they should be following them. So if they were to follow if they were to follow them in this day and age, they have to wear a hijab, and there's no freedom in that too.
Okay. Yeah, I think you were making more of an assertion rather than an argument. But I mean, thank you.
Yeah, nice speaking to my brother. Nice talking to my brother.
Well, that weapon day, she, your life, by the way.
How was it?
Your life,
Yeah,
your family, still.
we were speaking about my brother. What's this? K-Fala. What is it? Why do you have to wear this? Okay. So what we're speaking about is women's freedom in Islam. Why is it that women have to wear hijabs over the head? There's no freedom in that. You have to follow what the Sunnah says. You have to follow what the Quran says, and what the Muhammad's wife did, because Muhammad's wives were the mother of believers. So you should be following their example. If you just want to follow what the scholar, because the scholar says that women have to wear a hijab over the head, and there's no freedom for that. Even if it was a hot weather, even if we go to a beach, women still have to wear a hijab, and there is no freedom for that. If a woman want to go outside and do the hair up, they can't do that. If a woman wants to look beautiful, they can't do that. Where's the freedom? Women deserve freedom in Islam, and we are fighting for that freedom, for the woman treatment of Islam. Yeah, so he just kept on going on circular reasoning, so saying like different scholars had different opinions, but again, the Sunnah teaches that women have to wear a hijab, and there's no freedom of that too. Women deserve freedom, and we're here to fight that. That's all I have to say.